So she doesn't want to love you, she actually wants to control you. So my main goal with this video is to simply help you understand the difference between control and love, because honestly the two can be confusing. And obviously this is more for my guys who are in relationships, or maybe you're already dealing with a woman, you've been on a few dates and you're starting to actually gather some investment, you're starting to get maybe even a little bit invested in her. Most times within that stage is when all this stuff will come up. So here's what you got to remember about women is that they have a literal superpower, and that superpower is to emasculate men, especially if he's emotionally weak. Even the sweetest, most feminine woman will eventually start doing this. I have seen it firsthand. So that's why it's so important for you to recognize these signs in this video. And if you don't, not only are you going to lose control of the relationship, but eventually yourself. So let's break it down. So like I said, love versus control can be a pretty confusing spot and thing to recognize. But let me know if this has ever happened to you. Basically, you're in a relationship, or maybe you've been seeing this girl for a few months or so. She's texting you all the time, checking in on where you're at and asking who you're with. And at first it just feels like she really cares. You know, she's checking in and everything seems normal. But then after a while, it starts to feel a little different. And it's no longer, you know, like the, hey babe, what are you up to? It's instead, why didn't you text me back? Or who are you just talking to now? So basically these very interrogating like questions. But then she makes it seem like it's an act of love, like nothing's wrong, like she's not trying to be controlling or overbearing, she just truly cares. But do realize, once again, love and control can look super similar, especially at the start, because control disguises itself as attention and constant oversight. And when somebody wants to control you, they don't just start with demands, they start with care. They start with, oh, I just care about you, or I just want to make sure that you're okay. Now here's where it can actually get even more manipulative, and that's through tests. Sometimes consciously, most times unconsciously. Basically, women will poke at your boundaries, they'll push your buttons, and sometimes even manipulate your emotions, just to see how much power they actually have over you. In fact, I have this story. I remember when I was younger, I was out with my friends, we were like at the bar or something, and my girlfriend at the time, she called me, but I missed it because obviously I was with friends and I didn't even hear it, I didn't feel the vibration, whatever it may be. But when I finally called her back, she hit me with a silent treatment. You know, we've all been there probably. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And so I'm like, yo, what's wrong? And she replied, oh, you know, nothing's fine. And we all know when women say, oh, it's fine, truth is not actually fine due to their indirect communication style. But long story short, I knew it wasn't fine. And suddenly, guess what? My night was ruined because I couldn't stop overthinking, and I was stuck in my head trying to figure out, what did I do? Once again, that is not love. That is simply emotional control. It's also her way of testing your value. Are you the kind of guy who's gonna drop everything just to try and chase her validation? Or are you gonna hold on to your ground and not let her mood swings dictate your emotions? Once again, I'm not saying every woman does this intentionally, and sometimes these patterns can come off simply from her own insecurities and her fear of losing you. But whether it's intentional or not, the result is simply the same. And that is, it creates a dynamic where she is in control and you're constantly trying to keep her happy. And that's a losing battle because women will never be happy. So let me break down the optimal relationship dynamic as a man. And that is simply, you're in control, she's trying to tame you, but simply can't. Sometimes you guys got to remember why she even decided to choose you in the first place. More than likely, it was how you were acting. And women have the power, once again, the superpower to emasculate men and sort of change them in their ways throughout time, because that's what they think they want. But truth is, they don't know what they actually want. And if you allow them to do that, over time, they'll start to lose attraction and honestly don't know why. I've seen it time and time again, 5, 6, 7 year long relationships. And the woman has simply changed the man throughout time by making him more like the way she wants him to be. Through taming him, he proceeded to change, and then over time, she fell out of love with him. Now, like I said, a lot of women who lean towards controlling behavior, they sometimes have a deep fear of losing you or being abandoned or just simply not feeling enough. And instead of dealing with that fear internally with themselves, they try to control you to feel safe, especially women who have been cheated in every single relationship. In fact, I remember this girl I dated. She's been cheated on in her prior relationship and the one before that, and her ex had broken her trust so badly that now in her mind, the control was the only way to make sure that she didn't get hurt again. So some women use control just to avoid emotional pain, and they think that if they have more power or control, that the sometimes inevitable can be avoided. But the truth is that just takes them out of their feminine essence. Now, this reminds me of a theory that was popularized within the manosphere called betaization by 1000 concessions. And basically what this is, it means that the dynamic in the relationships where one partner, usually the man within this context, gradually loses their dominance, assertiveness, and individuality by repeatedly making small compromises or concessions to appeal their partner. And over time, these small compromises add up, leading to a loss of respect. But not only a loss of respect, a loss of attraction, and just simply balance within the relationship. So essentially, you are changing you or the things in your life for her. So you mostly see this whenever you move in with a woman. It tends to be the most popular, but it can still happen in very, very subtle, minute ways. And so I want to end off with telling you how to actually break free from that control, and it's simply to stay in control. How do you stay in control? Through leadership. Setting that leader-follower frame. Leaders, what do? They make decisions, they make choices. If your woman is constantly making the choices for you, constantly telling you guys what you're gonna do, maybe on a date night, or the one driving even, like all these little subtle things create masculine and feminine dynamics within it, and through that, it reinforces that she should be in control. Also, I believe S&V signaling is pretty important, which essentially means that you're signaling to her that you're higher sexual market value than her, which is another reason why I truly believe relationships work out the best whenever you date down and the woman dates up. It's a woman's natural inclination to date up anyway, but sometimes, you know, I've seen situations where it'll be pretty 50-50 or even the woman's making a little bit more. But unless she's really, really attracted to you, these dynamics just leads to her eventually trying to take control or just naturally being in the leadership position. So S&B signaling alongside with staying in control through decision making and leadership is the optimal way to do this. Alongside with that, make sure that you have your own life, your own goals, your own friends. Have a life outside your woman. Your relationship should not be your whole entire life. It should be just a small aspect of it, and you still have your life outside of her. Doing that on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis even is definitely going to keep the frame and the dynamic, simply put, in there. Whenever you have your own life and you're doing your own stuff, hanging with friends, and you don't make compromises for her, especially for your social group, that in itself shows a degree of independence, and a degree of independence shows, once again, more control. So guys, if you're tired of walking on eggshells, feeling like you're losing yourself just to keep your woman happy, it's time for a change. Inside Digital Romeo, we built a proven blueprint to help men like you step into your masculine frame, command respect in your relationships, and become the high value man that women naturally want to follow, not control. The kind of man who doesn't chase validation because he is the validation. My team and I have worked with countless of men, guiding them step by step through the Digital Romeo blueprint to not only transform their relationships, but their entire lives. And now it's your turn. So be sure to click the link below to book your free strategy call with me and my team. Let's map out your path to becoming the man who leads, not the one who follows. And hopefully we can see you inside. All right, see you in the next video.